Hi, this is Josh Trout, artist for Topps, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid.
Welcome back, or if this is your first episode, welcome aboard. My name is Greg McLaughlin, and this is the Rebel Base Card Podcast. And this unofficially is the one-year anniversary of the last time I did a podcast that started from Moretti's here in Rosemont as we are getting ready once again for the National. And next to me, once again, celebrating the anniversary of his National debut, as it were, is Ian Taylor of That Card Collectors Podcast. We're going to talk to you about getting ready for the National. We'll be right back right after this.
We still have 50 Star Wars baseball card collections left.
And that includes the Chewbacca if he played for the Brewers card.
That is lovely.
He's a second baseman there.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's a good-looking card.
That's a winner.
Everything's gonna be all right, kid.
You found the Rebel Base Card Podcast.
She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid.
I'm your host, Greg McLaughlin.
Have I made a few bad decisions? Sure.
We talk about cards, collecting Star Wars, and to people in the Star Wars community.
Don't worry, we're gonna meet up with some friends of mine.
Look for special episodes called The Breakfast Pack, talking about your favorite Star Wars shows.
We will never have a better chance than this.
All right, let's get started.
Well, perhaps it is time to begin again.
Welcome back. All right, we're here at Moretti's. We are getting ready for the National, and we did take a quick tour around the outside to kind of give Ian a bit of the lay of the land and to kind of check it out for ourselves. And first impression, eBay spared no expense promoting eBay Live, because that signage is all over the Donald D. Stevens Convention Center. Ian, you've had a couple of days now to kind of get in. You got in yesterday, late yesterday. It was a long flight. You sort of got a full night's sleep. You did a little walking about today, the Target run. How are we feeling as we're getting ready for the National?
I'm exhausted, Greg, and it hasn't even started yet. I've done 14,000 steps today so far. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more. Listen, I'm thrilled that air conditioning is still a thing in this country, because I think we're going to need it. And last year, by all accounts, they got the air conditioning just right in there, because it was actually pretty chilly. I'd heard tales of previous years it had not been quite so. It had been riper, shall we say? But I'm ready. My body is ready. Let's dive in. Greg, you're going to be with me tomorrow.
Yes.
For the first day, which is a later start and a later finish, 2 till 8, and I believe you're going to do at least one other day. I'm going to ask you a question now. This is what happens when two podcast hosts get together.
I like it.
What are you going to be doing when you get there? What's your plan of attack? How are you planning to tackle the first day?
We kind of had mentioned before about allowing ourselves time to look around, because there was lots of networking. As you can see, like, you had a group chat that has been blowing up the entire day. Did you know last night that fella in the shades at the barn we were at, the older gentleman in shades, he was a Teamster that was working at the National, as my friend Paul found out.
Oh, wow.
A little sidebar on that one. But I have a bunch of cards in hand, and I thought, because I've got vacation that's going right up against it, as I've been saying for weeks, I will not be there for the Toy-tastic trade night Saturday night. We're going to be taking off on that day. I have cards I want to try to sell. I have some currency which I think I can exchange either for cash or for trade, and I'm excited to push myself in areas I haven't necessarily done a lot of yet. Like, I know how to approach people, I know how to talk to people, but I'm hoping to use that time that we have tomorrow to find, like, normally we will expect to see all these tables saying buy, buy, buy. All right, I'm going to try to find those tables, and I'm going to try to see if I can get some cash so I can get what I'm buying, and maybe, if not make out ahead, not have to dip into the vacation savings in order to pay for what I want at the National. How about you?
Well, I will say this. Remember Mike Summers' advice last time you did a show about the National, where he was saying that check out the dealers that are buying and see what they're selling, just to get a sense of whether you think they're going to be into it. If they've just got high-end cards and you don't hold high-end cards, probably best not waste their time. But I think upstairs is going to be the place to go for that, because upstairs sounds like it's going to be a lot of the smaller dealers. I mean, they're still pretty decent size, the guys upstairs. I mean, when we're talking smaller on a national scale, we're still talking pretty decent. But I think upstairs, I'm certainly going upstairs pretty quickly once I've done a circuit of downstairs and said hello to the folks at Upper Deck, because there's at least 2 hockey-only vendors upstairs. So I'm going to be heading up there. I've also, interestingly, I've kind of done it in reverse. I've already sold some cards to people, and I'm going to be meeting them here and handing them over, which saves the buyers shipping from the UK. So that's going to be quite fun. And of course, I've got a whole stack of cards to give to friends. I gave you a load yesterday. Yes. In fact, we did a nice little handoff with each other. You gave me a wonderful box of Star Wars vintage that I've yet to dive into, but it included at least Return of the Jedi Series 2, I believe. Yes. And there was some Empire Series 1 in there as well. And, of course, one of your swag packs, number 7, I believe. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to get in there. Can I just say, I'm really hoping that on a future swag pack, I can be on one of your cards.
The goal is to get a good shot of you, maybe in action, making a deal, getting a deal, being shocked about a deal.
Or doing some content. Yes. So I should say, I mean, this will probably drop after the show, but it will be on the That Card Collectors Podcast YouTube. I'm going to be doing a live stream from the Upper Deck booth on Thursday morning, which is going to initially stream to all their channels, so their Twitch. I think they've got a Discord, they've got an Instagram, YouTube. So I'll be opening some boxes of Upper Deck product with a member of the Upper Deck team. And then they're going to let me have that video, so it will be on the podcast channel. So that will be really cool, because I haven't seen the Upper Deck booth yet this year, but what they've tended to do in previous years is they literally have an Upper Deck. They have 2 levels. So they're going to have a pretty good area for doing content. I think they've got quite a lot of content creators that are doing live openings and activations and what have you. And, you know, I'm thrilled that they've included me in their roster for that, which should be quite a good deal. So, but I'm hoping this year that you can get a shot. You know, I've got my mics, I've got my little phone gimbal thing, so I'm hoping to be catching some Vox Pop content for reels and shorts as I go around the show. So maybe you can get some action shots of a podcaster at work.
One thing that's nice about the National is there's lots of space. Now, these first few days before the weekend's going to be crushing, especially Saturday. But these early days, especially during the week, mostly for the people who are coming in, but a lot of folks are still working. You know, I know I'm kind of like in and out of the office this week. So early on, especially when the vendors are fresh, your contacts are fresh, everybody's excited. Wednesday is a big day. You know, those first 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. And I'm also thrilled because I like what I've seen Upper Deck do for you, with you, you know, like not only the boxes, but also being on your show, talking about product, especially after, you know, losing the Marvel license, but getting into DC. They've always had the NHL one. And of course, you know, they still love to put together a set of cards. And so I'm excited for you, very happy for you, that they go, hey, look, That Card Collectors Podcast, they have an audience. They like Upper Deck. Think outside of the box. And that kind of goes a little bit into your introduction and newfound love of the hockey product. Can you talk a little bit about that before we kind of dive into what we just opened earlier?
Yeah, I mean, there's the thing about Upper Deck is that they make really good cards. By and large, you know, their team are really focused on it. They're really passionate. They care. They're collectors themselves, and they really care about making a good product. And 9 times out of 10, more than 9 times out of 10, in fact, 99 times out of 100, let's say, they nail it. You know, the QA's solid. You know, the card designs are executed well. what you think of the designs, of course, is a subjective thing, as we'll get into in a moment. But they make good cards, so I wanted to try more of the other products that Upper Deck did. Upper Deck did a really, really smart thing a couple of years ago before they lost the Marvel license. They have their flagship hockey product, which is Series 1, Series 2, and Extended. It's a big product, comes out every year. They made a Marvel Cinematic Universe product based on that flagship model. So they put out Marvel Studios Series 1 and Marvel Studios Series 2 in 2024, just before they lost the license. So effectively speaking, you've got all of their hockey designs, you've got their UD debuts, their canvas, their dazzlers, portraits, fluorescence, holographics, high gloss, exclusives, but using MCU characters. So Series 1 was all the Disney Plus shows, Hawkeye, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, etc. Set 2, Series 2, was the Thor Love and Thunder, it was the Marvels, it was Eternals, it was Black Widow. It was just a really solid product. Now, that introduced me and a lot of collectors who weren't into hockey to a lot of those legacy designs that Upper Deck do year in, year out in that flagship product. And so I was like, you know what? I really fancy just trying something new. So, I started dabbling with some hockey. And my golly, it's a steep learning curve. Have I ever watched a full game in person? No, I haven't. So I'm learning the sport as well as learning about the cards. And it's a really interesting, for me, it's a really good thing that I've stepped outside my comfort zone and that I'm trying new stuff. And it's great because it introduces me to new people and new products and new card designs as well that Upper Deck put out that they haven't used in their non-sports. So it's just fun.
Hi, this is Vanessa Marshall, the voice of Harrison Dula, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid.
Well, and I do like that because, as you said, there was a little bit of overlap. One, you have the brand. Two, you have, the quality there. But three, some of those, designs and inserts and all that kind of go, even when we were kind of opening that, I'm like, I just like the design of it. I like the sparkle of it. But it's parallel to, recently the Panini sticker chase because the World Cup was going on. But the fact that, there was the Coke sticker chase, which I did actually finish. I had to eBay the last one. But I think it enhances, it was kind of enhancing because I could see the players, in the album. I could see them as we were kind of watching them. And you're kind of flipping through, and so I think it was just kind of fun, and because at certain times there was an easier way to get the product, you could either Amazon it, sometimes you find it in the wild. There was that wow, it didn't cost an arm and a leg. It was fun. It was a bit of a chase. I can still keep going on it. Some friends of mine were doing it, and I think that kind of makes it fun. It was just like last year at the National when we ripped that Marvel product right at the end when we go, these boxes were cheap, but it was just a fun group rip.
Exactly, and what I love, and we don't have this in the UK at all. I mean, a little bit with Topps now, because they've got such a wide reach and their license is global. But earlier on today, I walked into a Barnes & Noble and I was able to buy a blaster product of Upper Deck Extended hockey, and for $25. I mean, we opened them just before we started recording this. 4 packs, 12 cards a pack, $25. It's just fun, It's the very definition of ripping responsibly, and just enjoying the moment. We were 2 packs each, and you'd not seen a lot of these card designs before. We got a really good green Dazzlers of a rookie, Michael Mieser. And just some fun cards. Probably nothing old PC, but that's not the point. The point is we had fun opening them, and I can gift most of those to people I'm going to see over the next few days, and just say, open these really cool cards. You'll probably appreciate them more than me. I can give them to a kid. You know, last year at the hotel that I was staying in, there were so many. I find this really funny. I'm sure it's going to be the same this year. There were so many wives and kids who weren't necessarily going to the show. The husband was. And they were just kind of doing stuff in Chicago. I mean, I think they were dipping in a little bit, but it was mainly Daddy's trip. So I'm sure I'll see the same again this year. So, you know, if I've got a stack of hockey cards that some little kid is just going to really dig, you know, then I'll do that.
I do like the fact that when you're coming into it, you don't have any previous biases. You're going, I picked a team. Just kind of like for me, like picking Chelsea, right? Going, I'm just kind of picking it out of thin air, as it were. But you go, it's kind of fun because now I know. Because when I talk to a lot of like my friends who are collectors, and I go, hey, I'm a fan of X. That makes it fun for me because if I'm pulling a pack of something, I go, oh, I'm going to set that aside because my friend's a Mets fan or my friend's an Oilers fan. But it is just kind of fun to go, you know what? These are new cards, and I come into them new. And so I can I'm joining in with everybody else who's buying this product right now, and I'm seeing them as just everybody else seeing them. So it's kind of like there's a little bit of an equalizer there.
I mean, not every insert's going to land. I mean, when we were opening it, I was looking at some of them going, I don't really care for that, but I love the fact that they try stuff. I love the fact that they try new stuff with each year, and the Dazzlers are in every year, but the design always changes. You know, same with the portraits. But yeah, Young Guns is such a staple of that product, and they go back decades. I'm going to be having Upper Deck come onto the show soon, and they're going to be talking about the history of their hockey products, and hopefully we'll get into the lineage of the Young Guns and, you know, how they've done that, which I'm really looking forward to just learning a little bit more about that, because, you know, everyone knows what Superfractor is. You know, the Outburst product, we didn't get any Outbursts in there, but you saw some Outbursts from the Marvel Studios product, and, you know, they're stunning cards. I mean, they're deeply impressive cards, but the Gold Outbursts are equally as nice, if not even better. In fact, they'll take the Pepsi Challenge with a Superfractor any day of the week. Yeah, it's just fun at the end of the day. It's just fun to dabble with something new. It's fun to be on a kind of new learning curve. And also, there's cards. There's cards in the products that you kind of think, you know what, I just really like that card design. So Team Agnostic, I'm going to collect that chase card set. And there's a few of those I've come across. Namely, the last year's extended had an insert called Oracles, which is gorgeous. I'll show you some images of it after this. And you can ooh and ah over it. I've got another beer coming. I love it.
I like the looks of that.
Yeah, podcast and beers. I love it.
Tell you what, think about that, but one thing I'm going to really enjoy once we kind of get through, because you do have to run a bit of the gauntlet to get in. There'll be a huge line to get to the line. But once I'm in to kind of get a lay of the land, but what I like most about the early days and the tables here is that there's just quantity. There's a lot of dealers, there's a lot of different product, and they'll be cheap and they'll be off the charts. And that's what's going to be nice, because, you know, it's like even you going to Target today because of a wide variety of merchandise at different price points that you spent. I don't know if I can say this. Can I say how long you spent there?
I was there for 2 hours.
2 hours.
Over $400. So yeah, you can say that. I have no shame.
But that's the thing where it's going to be nice, because normally we're fighting for any product anywhere, physical, e-pack, online, eBay or not. Here it's all going to be laid out in front of us if we have the time, and as our pizza comes, the patience to get there. We'll be right back with more right after this.
This is Mark Mulcaster from Fanatics, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid.
Welcome back. But one thing great about the National is seeing people in person. They're taller. But also to break some bread and have some fun and just enjoy being not only with the people in our hobby, but being around the hobby. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. We're all the same height when we're on a podcast, Greg. That's the way I like to think of it. I think I might have said this when I was on last month or whenever it was. But the thing about the National last year is I came for the cards, but I left having memories and experiences of the people. So this year I came for the people. The cards, it'd be nice if I picked some up, but if I don't acquire anything at the National, I won't be upset because I'll have experienced it. I'll have seen a lot of cards I can't afford, but for me that'll be some of the stuff that you see there is like, wow, okay, I'm glad I got to see that in person, even though it's not something I could collect or could afford. And that's the breadth of it. You really get a sense of the breadth of the hobby. You get a sense of how many different types of cards there are. What's the expression? One man's meat is another man's poison. There's always going to be the stuff there that some people will go, is it though? And other people will be like, oh wow, that's the best thing since sliced bread. Fun question for your listeners here. What was the best thing before sliced bread? But we won't dwell on that point. But I think it's last year I remember seeing all these Tom Brady rookie cards. I mean, most of the big vendors had several that were graded. Now, I'd never seen one before in my life. I'm certainly not going to pay what they want for them because it's for me. That's just I like Tom Brady. I like Tom Brady cards. I'm not dropping that amount of money on a Tom Brady rookie card. But plenty of people will. But I'm glad I got to see them. And so that's the beauty of coming here. And listen, I've got a load of cards, as you just said, that I've been slowly chipping away at those Marvel Studios sets. I think tomorrow my last delivery will be a set of 7 autograph cards from Star Trek the original series. Most of the actors who signed those on card are now passed away. So, there's something wonderful about having those on card experiences from people who were, filming that show 60 years ago. But I've got a stack of cards already to take back with me, and loads of cards that I've brought over to give to friends. So, that's what it's all about for me.
And one thing that we'll be reminded, and we've talked about this before, as far as like the National being an equalizer of the hobby. Fanatics Fest was the previous weekend. It's clearly a different kind of show that has a lot of aspects. Now, obviously, it's sanctioned around one vendor. You did have a lot of tables. I did like the fact that they talked, they had vendors there as well as the celebrities, but you were going to see lots of different aspects of the hobby, lots of different vendors, and so you're seeing a more complete picture, I think, of the card hobby. And I think that's what's nice, because there's what we see on our phones and in our feeds and in your constant notifications, but there is something where you can ignore complete sections of the convention floor. You can spend time. I like what you said about like heritage auctions. I think they had a lot of costumes from different, like from Batman and from Star Trek and from other things, and so or like high-end sports collectibles. You just see a breadth of it, and even things that you're not interested in will be kind of nice, and they're going to be there, and then you could see it once, or you could kind of go back to it, have some pictures, but you don't feel like it was dominating your experience.
Well, I guess there's another side to that. Is in the Heritage auction last year, they had original paintings from the Hildebrandt brothers from 1994 Marvel Masterpieces, for example. So, but even where you've got dealers who have stuff, I mean, Heritage, I think these were just on display. But I think a lot of the dealers have stuff. And the way to think about it is think about it like you're going to a museum. You're going to a pop culture, sports, trading card museum. A bloody big one with lots of other people. But here's the thing. You go to the Louvre in Paris, which we talked about before we jumped back on the recording, and you queue up for ages to see the Mona Lisa, and you'll see it from a distance, and it's tiny, and you'll move past it very quickly because they don't let you hang around. So it's, for me, I felt it was an anticlimax. At the National, it's busy, but you can hang. You could just spend all your time looking at the cards on a few dealers if you wanted to. those dealers would probably call the police and get a restraining order after the third day, as you're not spending any money. But it's you'll see stuff. There's stuff that you didn't know existed. I mean, last year, it's not just cards, and that's the thing. I mean, it is the National Sports Collectors Convention. It's not just cards. I thought cards was in the title, but it's not. So there's people there with signed baseballs, like thousands of them, and that's all they're dealing. There's people there with signed currency and custom currency with Donald Trump and various other people on, which I found was weird, but they were doing cracking business. So, it takes all sorts. I mean, what's the expression? It takes a village. And, I think you see that here.
I like that too, because it also, once again, it emphasizes the fact that there are many aspects of this, and even if, one thing or more dominates the conversation, you will see the thing that interests you, and it'll be there. It's going to be there waiting for us, and I'm kind of excited to get on the other side of this pizza. It was good pizza, but the event is the event. We start off, we get down there, find a parking space, get in a line, get in the correct line this time. Hopefully, we just walked in. And then start to kind of comb the floor, and I think that's when you really feel like you're on the clock, but you feel like you're arrived. And that's kind of what I'm hoping in this episode, that we kind of get you through. And I appreciate, like I said, we've been talking about it, but it is this build-up, and it's kind of, the fun is the build-up, the fun is the show, but that's the thing, and a lot of friends along the way. And so everybody's journey is going to be just a little different. And, we'll part ways at some point. You'll finish up your show, I'll go on vacation. But we'll have to kind of come back and, after the whole thing's done, and kind of recap and see if it kind of met our expectations. Is it met, exceed, or was it below expectations? But I have a good feeling about this one. How about you?
Well, it reminds me of the National 2026, Shag, Marry or Kill. It's one of those. Well, I would like to. I see your proposal and I raise it. There will be a post-national analysis, post-game, if you like, on that Card Collectors podcast. So maybe, Greg, you could come and join us, and we could have a little post-match analysis. Review the plays and do some action replays of certain moments and things like that. I have to say, there is going to be a social post just of itself over the text chat I was added to this morning. That only this morning, and I haven't looked at it. Now, let's do a count. Let's have a look. So currently, the number of unread messages on this text chat, just since we sat down for this pizza, is at 77. But that's the thing. They're all having fun. They're all meeting up. Most of them are sat there in the same hotel bar near the Donald D. Stevens, and they're still texting each other on that group chat. So, such is life.
All right. So the next time, hopefully, we will see each other. We'll be at the National. I appreciate you guys being along for the ride. It's kind of fun to take you along. This is one of the biggest events a year for our hobby. And when I say our hobby, that's a lot. It's everybody in this hobby, whether you're a collector, seller, breaker, flipper, I don't care what you are. It's going to be fun. I hope whoever is here, that you had a good time, that I saw you, that I gave you a swag pack, and that you have yourself a good show. We're going to see you on the show floor, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey, this is artist and author Cameron Johnson, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid.
So, Pete McClure, welcome to Schiller Park. This is a suburb that's south of Rosemont, but we started off in Rosemont, and we are finding ourselves having the general admission line going way down the block. We are way past McCormick and Schmitz. How do you feel about attending the National?
Excited and scared. We'll see how it is when you get in. Last year I came in on day 2, and so it was a lot easier. We'll just see how it looks when I walk inside.
We happen to be in, like I said, the general admission line, and it's way down. Now, last year, Ian and I got caught in a VIP line that was in the gangway across in the parking garage. Now, he has kind of left because he has a little nicer pass than us, but this is the first time I've seen this go all the way down. We are mere moments from it opening, but I'm going to say it's going to be a little while before they get everything through. I found it interesting. I don't know if you saw, Pete. They had people going down there already doing wristbands, so that tells you that they were kind of prepared for this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then as we're walking about halfway down, we see no more wristbands. Yeah. So either they ran out of wristbands to pass out, or they got too tired of being outside.
Well, there's another possibility. So if you were the person when the wristbands ran out, did they take it out on wristband guy? Oh. We might have to put an APB out for wristband guy because they might have this crowd might have overwhelmed.
They might have jumped him, or he got too hot, passed out, or he got too hot and jumped in the river.
We are next to the Des Plaines River, as you see here. So, yeah, I could very easily see what's left of wristband guy down there. But I will wait diligently. But what kind of brings you to the National this year?
Mainly just to hang out with people. I collect a lot of the older 90s Marvels cards, so there's not too much here for it. But it's to get away from kids and be able to enjoy company of other collectors.
Well, I don't think we're a want for other collectors because I think we're pretty much soaking in at this point. But the nice thing is you got to see a lot of nice restaurants here. As we were walking past, we had Gibson's, we had McCormick and Schmick's, the Capitol Grill. So I would say, like, if you have a lot of money to throw at some steak, Pete, you have come to the right place.
Definitely. The question is, do I have a lot of money to spend on steak?
That's true. You know, I saw a lot of people, everybody's got their cases out, and so when this show floor gets full up, it's going to be some hefty business. What's going to be one of the first things you're going to be doing here?
I don't know. I think really just today's enjoying looking around. Like, with collecting a lot of non-sport, there's not a lot here.
Right.
But it's the fun of looking and finding. So being able to maybe find that one card that they have, I'll get. Or I'll look through things and find not a single thing I want to spend my money on.
Now, you're no stranger to conventions. You have set up stuff. You were talking about Fan Expo Denver, but what are some of the kind of artwork you like to do and display at your booths?
So at my booth, I do a lot of repurposing of trading cards and comics. So I make old wallets out of trading cards and comics. I do a lot of wall art just from repurposed, whether it's wood art and putting the comics on top of it. Right now I'm working on trying to figure out how to do kind of a 3D style with comics, shadow boxes, good old stuff that you just find people really throwing away. Wow. So the whole idea is my thing is take your nerd with you. I've made stringy bags out of it. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's kind of funny because we're actually walking on the road. So we are sharing space not only with many other convention goers, but the cars that are working their way up River Road. But at any rate, I can't wait to get in there, really get in there, and then just kind of look around and kind of see what's going on today.
Well, and it's moving at a pretty good click right now. I mean, we're not slow walking. I think we're walking faster there than we were to the back of the line right now. So...
Well, hey, I might be catching up with you later, but just before we kind of wrap up, because we're almost like at a fast jaunt, where can people find you online?
So TC Wallets and More on Instagram, and also TC Wallets and More for my link tree, and that'll kind of take you to everything that I do.
All right, well, Pete, it was great. We actually had a lunch with Ian Taylor, and I can't wait to actually get this podcast inside the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. This is day one of the National. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Femi Taylor. I play Ula in Return of the Jedi, Jabba the Hutt's slave dancer. You're listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast.
So finally, we're here on the show floor at the National after 40 minutes of waiting in line. But we got in, the air conditioning is good, it works. And I'm happy to say that I have moved a card and got myself a little bit of spending cash for this year National. That's what I'm going to try to do. Now, I do have some like smaller end cards I might try to see if I can bundle up. But mainly, get past that first one. And I get it. You have to do that deal, and then you shake the hand, and then you throw over, you get a little cash, you throw over the card. It was a graded card already, so it was going to be a little easy. So that was probably one of my easier ones. Although I was told by one, like, nah, never mind. Even though that it was perfectly what they were looking for. But you already see a lot of folks out here. They've got cases. There are kids. There's a lot of deals that are already going down. Some nice non-sport that Ian and Pete are going through. They're going through some dollar bins. So it's a good start to the show. And looks like they're about ready to settle up. They've been hitting the $2 and $1 bins, which are great. And that's the one thing I will stress here is just the amount of cards in any capacity. I saw some really nice high-end stuff. Any table you go past is going to have a little bit of everything there. And so I think just the sheer amount of cards is what's going to make a collector very happy. And if you're smart, you can kind of make this pay for itself a little bit. But anyway, all right, we'll be right back. More after this.
Hey there, this is Ian Taylor from That Card Collectors Podcast, and you're listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. The force is strong with this one.
I've been wanting to run in for Stephanie from Mama Breaks for 2 or 3 years now. I've had you on. This is one of those things. You're one of the hardest working folks in the break business. I know you've been here before a lot of people got in, but what were some of the things you were looking to do and look at this year?
Here at the National, I'm always excited to see the growth of non-sports cards. I've been shopping them since my first National in Atlantic City in 2022, and to see the growth has been incredible, and even to play a small part in that has been such an incredible journey. So I'm looking for more non-sport collectors, and I'm looking to pursue more of that in the next 5 years. That's where I'm at. That's where my heart is. That's where I've really found my joy for collecting is in entertainment cards.
I wonder, do you give yourself time? I know because everybody's creating content. You've always got to be working for your brand. Do you find time to go, you know what? I'm going to turn off and I'm just going to dive into a bin.
Yes, I typically the team leaves on Sunday mornings and I'll stay a little longer. Not this year, so I wouldn't be doing it here, but I do. You know, the crazy thing about the last 5 years too has really been the innovation with the companies in their apps. I've been finding so much joy in the PSA vault, in the eBay vault, in the Fanatics Collect vault. It's never been easier to shop cards online. And sometimes just going home after a long day and looking at cards for a few hours is definitely how I wind down. And I definitely make time to add some stuff to my collection. And I feel like I have even an upper hand over most because I'm around it all the time. And I get to break so many cases that I know what's really where, and I know what I love and what I love to pull. So not so much at shows right now, but I do a lot of online work where I have fun collecting cards still, for sure.
I know that you're probably getting carted around to different entities and so forth, but at a show like this, how do you wind down? I mean, because it's on from the moment we step foot in here, but how do you, especially when you're on the road, how do you get any kind of rest?
During the show, I just, like anybody, get to bed as early as I can and then get up early and work out. So I crush a Celsius at 5 a.m. and I make sure I work out for an hour and a half before this, and that's my meditation time, that's my cool down time.
And then just one goal for this particular National, what are you looking to kind of get out of it?
I'm looking to find Galaxy Chrome Superfractors. If I could acquire 1 or 2 of those, I'd be really happy. But overall, I would love to just get more people into entertainment cards. We're set up at the SoCo card convention about a half an hour away. And I'll be set up with a ton of Star Wars and Disney and even wrestling there too. Wrestling is something I've been really into lately too. But again, last year I went home with the Star Wars Super. That's the goal again this year.
And if people want to find out more, where do you point them first?
Definitely our Instagram at Mama Breaks, MAMABREAKS. That's my personal brand page, but we have a YouTube. We have Mama Breaks live page, and then we're live breaking every single day on Fanatics and whatnot.
Thank you. It's been a real thrill, and thank you very much for taking a little time. It's been really fun. Stephanie, enjoy the show.
Thank you so much. It's so great to see you.
Hey, folks, this is Ro from the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast, where it's always sunny on Scarif, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card podcast. Great pull, kid.
Here over at booth 619 with Augie, who normally I see at the Chicago Sports Spectacular as day one is winding down. Now, Augie, you don't have to go how the show has been so far for you, but okay, how's the show been so far for you?
Actually, pretty good. This is the first National I've ever set up at. And I mean, I've got the random stuff people don't need. I brought cards this time, which I normally don't. And It's been good. People walked through, picked up a few things here and there, so it's been a good. What's today? Wednesday? It's been a good Wednesday. Yeah. I said Thursday earlier. My dad's like, no, you've got like 5 more days of this. So so it's been good.
I've been talking to like Ian and Pete who are here, and like, we're at the Chicago Sports Spectacular. It's like you're a little out of the norm as far as like the sea of cards, but you bring your starting lineup and all that. But here it's like in this aisle you kind of found like some kindred spirits.
Yeah, the shows in November and March, I usually focus on the Chicago stuff. Here I try to bring a little bit of everything. So and there's new people here. There's a lot of cards, but it's cool to see other stuff. Have you seen the guy with all the bobbleheads over here? It's just amazing, some of the stuff that people are bringing to this show.
Are you going to be able to get out and kind of see the show for yourself?
Well, that's the nice thing. My dad is here with me this time, so yes, I can actually get out. And of course, every time I walk away, he calls me because someone was wanting to buy something, so I have to run back here. So, yeah.
Was it hard for you to get a slot here, and was there a lot of thinking, like, do I really want to kind of go for a show? Because obviously this probably ups the cost a little bit more than Chicago Sports Spectacular.
It does. We don't normally set up here, but a friend of ours had an extra spot, so we kind of filled in there. And I guess the biggest question was, do I want to spend a week of my life to this during my summer vacation? So, it's been worth it so far. I'm sure I'll be tired Sunday, but it's been good so far. Talk to me Sunday. We'll see how I feel.
If there's one thing here you could take home with you, because it's got to be hard to kind of like pass some of this stuff up. What is the thing you're going? You know what? If I see blank, it's coming home.
Greg, it's funny. I like dealing with this stuff. I don't like purchasing this stuff. So I don't know. If there's a random, if the guy walks up with a box of starting lineups and says, give me $20, I'm like, here you go. But other than that, I really don't know. It's nice to sell it, but I don't live it all the time.
The other nice thing here is we just came from Salberry over at Puck Junkie is on the other side, but we found that nice secret alley to go through the lobby to get over here. It's just great seeing, familiar faces, and I think we've been running into folks, like Ian's been a sharp seller over here. It's like he says, I think I'm going to be moving a card, and magically someone appears with cash or cards in hand. It's amazing how he can manifest things to happen. I don't know about you, Ian, but your wheeling and dealing is, I doff my hat to you, sir.
I could use manifesting some more people for the PSA slabs I've got in the back, but I can only do what I can do. Would you like me to manifest someone for the stuff that you've got to sell, Greg?
I like you to manifest a chair. I think that would be the first thing. But yeah, I was moving some cards. Somebody I got to come back to, but that's kind of the thing. When you're at a multi-day show, maybe you don't feel the urge, you don't have to make everything back in one day. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's nice, I can actually sit down and not have to stand and walk around a lot. But yeah, it's nice just to kind of hang back and let people come to us. And yeah, I'm surprised at some of the stuff I sold that I thought I'd be going home with on Sunday, and it's gone already, so it's nice.
I think just having a variety of merchandise, and I do like this setup better because I think you do get a little sit down and kind of guarded from it because it's a long day.
It really is. It's a long few days, yes. Especially today. It's set up this morning and late tonight, but it's great. I'm looking forward to the next few days.
All right, well, I'm going to get these tired legs of mine and my crew here out of here. But Augie, it was great to run into you. I'll see you again before the show ends, but good luck.
Thanks, Greg. Good to see you, buddy.
Hi, this is George from Meanwhile the Podcast, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid.
As day one is winding down, they actually just kind of put it over the loudspeaker. It's like you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. What I would say is the early days are the way to go, and it's difficult for some, but what I liked was that there was plenty of room in between, although you had places, intersections where I would say that it was tight and you had to kind of work your way around. But I don't think I've ever seen so many bins and deals as far as $1 cards, $2 cards, threes, and so forth. And I just walked past a 101 Master Codebreaker auto for $1,500. So you can get all the range here. And the other thing is the Heritage auction booth is amazing with all those Star Wars set use stuff, that private collection that's going to go on auction. So there's something here for everybody. I'm just so happy that we had a chance to get here today as we're kind of working our way out. But hope that you enjoyed this portion of it. We're going to try to maybe get some more audio. We're going to see how all this breaks down. It was great catching up with Stephanie from Mama Breaks, and Augie, and Sal Berry from Puck Junk. Just so many people. So as we're moving our way out, we're going to get crushed here if we're not careful. But anyway, all right. We'll talk to you soon.
Hello there. This is Greg Cass at Ion Cannon, and you're listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid.
Welcome back. Consider this to be a bit of a bridge as we kind of concluded part one, where we talked about the arrival and getting into the show floor and getting a chance to look around and get at the initial thoughts. And I don't know if I mentioned this, how large the Topps and Upper Deck booths were. They definitely had expanded their presence. I thought Upper Deck did a really nice job. A lot of carpet. Can't say enough about the carpet. But about adding a lot of the collectibles, like the Chicago Blackhawks, Stan Mikita's trophies and whatnot. And you had a Bobby Hull stick. You had a Tony Esposito uniform and so forth, and some other things. And had those big, humongous floor-to-ceiling panels. One of them had Connor Bedard and had some of the other players on there. They had a whole area where there was a stage set up where they were going to be doing content. And Ian Taylor earlier this morning did his show where he talked to folks from Upper Deck. The Heritage Auction site, which was amazing. I'm going to be going back to just because of all the Star Wars props and costumes and artwork and all other stuff there. There was a huge area there. And of course, all your big players, your Dave and Adams, your Steel City. I think Whatnot had an amazingly large area. I think they called the Live Center. And that was kind of like, there was like a little of a cloth sheen. You could kind of walk around it. PSA was there. Of course, eBay, and eBay had all their signage around. So a lot of your big players are there, and vendor after vendor was there. And I think that we'd mentioned that already, just about how many cards were there, how many people were actively selling, looking over stuff. It sounded like in the PSA and some of the other grading areas that there was a lot of activity there, and I think the fees for doing it at show probably were fairly steep. This morning I did a pickup of a friend of mine, Colorado Collectibles, came in, and showing him, we had to go past the line at the Donald E. Stevens, and it was looking just like yesterday. As a matter of fact, when I measured it after I got home and did a little thing on Google Maps, I think the line that we were in yesterday stretched a half mile down the road. And someone had asked me online, and this is a good question, why did you have to wait outside? And I thought about that, and I said, you know what? I don't think they were really built for an outside waiting area. And I guess it also kind of depends upon what kind of expo you're at. This one, just because of the sheer numbers that just stretch down. McCormick Place, by the way, which is in downtown Chicago, you have large areas indoors. You can use one of the other expo areas to wait, but I don't think the Donald E. Stevens is really set up that way, especially since the convention floor now takes all that first floor and some of the second. That's also Speaking Way. Speaking of that second floor, I really want to make it up there this year to see, because I heard it's done a little better. The lobby, a lot of Whatnot advertising in the lobby. I think they had a giveaway of a Porsche that was painted up and decorated and whatnot. But once you got inside, basically they kind of scanned your QR code at the door, gave you the wristband, and that kind of allowed you to come back in for that day. And then, the show floor, at least on Wednesday, and I would assume a little bit Thursday, would be a little easier to manage than, say, as you get into Friday or Saturday, where they're probably going to be the two heaviest of days there. So anyway, I think in part two, I kind of want to work towards, just want to talk to more folks, bring you more from the show floor. I've still got some work to do to catch some, I want to try to sell off some of these cards so I can buy some more. I think that's how this all works. All right. So I think this is going to end for this part of the national coverage. We're going to talk to you soon.
Hi there, this is Dan Zare from Coffee with Kenobi, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid. So, Topps artist, Stephan Leonardi, I really hate to break some bad news to you here at the National, but as we are just here in the main entrance, if you want some good coffee, you're going to have to go all the way around to the other end of the other entrance to get some. No, actually, what's nice is they have these cutaway aisles because they take up all the things, the shortcut. But tell me, first time here, you've been here for a little bit this morning, first impressions.
I mean, the place this is ridiculous. This is so huge. This is literally insane. I mean, I knew it was big, for sure. I've seen the videos, I read a lot, and people told me that it was, going to be huge, but that huge, this is crazy. Lots of good energy, but wow, just wow. I'm speechless, really.
I think also one thing you have to take into consideration is of at least 500,000 square feet, that's all concrete here on this first level, carpeting matters, wouldn't you agree?
I agree, because you do a lot of walking, and I've just been here for like less than 2 hours, and it's wow. Again, I'm speechless.
Well, you had a couple of things you needed to get. What were your things as soon as you got in that you had to get done?
Yeah, it's pretty, it's not a big fancy thing, but I needed to get some top loaders because I have, tomorrow we'll have the Star Wars Trade Night hosted by Toy-Tastic. So I'm going to be there, and I will be handing out some special promo card that I did for the event. So each attendee will get this promo card in their bag, but in order to protect it, the best way possible, I needed to sleeve that up, which is already done, but I was missing some top loaders that I couldn't, bring that with me in my luggage from France. So I had to buy those on the show floor. So it's already done. So I just need now to put all those cards back into their top loaders, and I have like 500 of those. So I will have a busy night tonight.
I'm also wondering, so can you talk a little bit about the setup for tomorrow and how they have kind of described for you things are going to go down?
Well, I don't know all the details, but from what I know is that the event will start at 4 p.m. and should end around 11. And you will have, I think, different areas where you will have some trading. I know there's a photo call booth, something like that. And of course, you will have all the artists that are gathered here, Topps artists like myself. So we'll have our own table where we will be showcasing our work, sketch cards, anything that we would like to sell to the people that will show up. So it's going to be great. There are going to be some auctions as well. So it's going to be a very fun day and night.
I think what's nice is that with the Star Wars Trade Night, we were talking about the Paris Card Show, when you set up at shows where you're one piece of many things. This will be a more concentrated event. That's got to kind of get you a little bit excited.
Yeah, because obviously I brought a lot of things, just to satisfy all types of, collectors, from down to a very affordable stuff, down to the more high-end stuff. So I think everybody should be pleased, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. Will it be a success from my point of view? I don't know. I guess it will be, but the most important thing for me is to meet people, because this is why I came over here, just to meet you, for instance, and to meet all the people, whether it's breakers, collectors, artists, of course. I just enjoy being here this weekend with all of these guys.
Yes, because a lot of times, your main interaction with your peers are through, group chats or texts and things like that. And now you're going to see a lot of them in person, I'm sure. Now, we don't want to play favorites or say not, but I would say you have to be excited just to see a lot of these folks that, that understand your line of work.
Yeah, for the most part, I will be meeting those people for the very first time, but I had the chance to be at Star Wars Celebration in Tokyo last year. So I will reconnect with some people as well, so I'm pretty excited.
And just kind of lastly, so you have a little bit more time on the floor today. Now that you've kind of seen it and you've kind of gathered yourself of sorts, what are some things that you're saying, all right, now that I have a second to catch my breath, I should go investigate this?
Well, it's really it's overwhelming at the moment. As I said, I've been here for just a couple of hours, and I've seen some amazing displays, high-end cards, baseball cards everywhere, which I love because I love the designs of all this stuff. I don't collect, obviously, but I'm really, sensible to this, and I will probably try to check out if perhaps I will have my sketch card somewhere in a display, just for fun. No, that's about it. Just enjoying the show and the energy here.
And for those who couldn't make it out there or not making it to trade night, where can they find your work online?
Oh, that's pretty straightforward. You can check my work on Instagram at Art of Stephan Leonardi. And this is where you will be able to see all my most updated work on the various properties I'm working on. Star Wars, of course, and Marvel, and some other things. Yeah.
Not only was it great running into you, it was great introducing you to our local pub. We're really giving the Red Barn a lot of love on this particular national, exactly. But it has yet to disappoint, and I know that they appreciate it. And it was nice to sit outside. We had some great weather, which is good because the rest of this weekend will not be so great in weather, so I'm glad you had a chance to experience it and get a good night's sleep. Enjoy the rest of the national.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm having a great time so far, and it's just the beginning. So, yeah, thank you again.
Hi, this is Adam from Garbage Chute Droids, and you're listening to the Rebel Base Card Podcast. Great pull, kid.
Well, all right, as my time here at the Nationals winding down, yours is still kind of winding up, Ian Taylor of That Card Collectors Podcast. So let me ask you this, how is your convention going?
I'm exhausted, Greg. It's been fab. I tell you, the thing is, I feel like I'm a three-legged dog in a forest. There's so many things, if I'm going to carry that metaphor, and there's so many things to pee against, and I can't do all of them at the same time because I've only got 3 legs. But
may I recommend Arena Club? But they're not a sponsor.
Okay, good. But I've been meeting loads of people, just people I've not met before, getting content, doing stuff on Instagram, doing the podcast at the Upper Deck booth where we're sat right now. It's just been mad. And I have had a chance to look at cards, but it's been more than that. And that's the really interesting thing. I knew I hoped that would be the case. I could spend all my time walking around the aisles, and we have done a fair bit of that, as my back will attest to. No, it's been a really good balance. But having said that, I meant to leave, we're recording on Friday afternoon, coming up 4 o'clock. I was here all day Wednesday, out in the evening, all day Thursday, out in the evening, all day today. In fact, I got here before 10 today because my pass allows me to come in earlier. So I'm kind of at a point where if I'm going to do Saturday and physically be able to do Saturday, this evening, I'm going to be in my hotel room with a movie.
I feel you on that because I think that there are areas you can get swept up into. There's like these little whirlpools. And I kind of felt that when I was trying to, sell some cards, and it didn't go down very well a few times. I did get some compliments going, not a bad set, but I'm just not interested. But what I would say is, do you feel it was worth it to come?
Well, I got to hang out with you, so of course the answer is yes. I think so, yes. I've done things this trip I didn't think I'd do. I've gone out of my comfort zone a few times. I've been putting myself forward, and I don't tend to do that as much as I should do, maybe. So yeah, it's been tremendous, and it's not over yet. The only question remains is, how on earth am I going to get all the stuff that I've acquired back to the UK? Answers on a postcard, please, listeners.
Well, I can't wait for our wrap-up because, you're going to be going back. I'm going on vacation. There's going to be kind of a, let the wash of the hype influence just kind of go down, and the posts, and it's been pretty good. I've enjoyed my time here, but it will be kind of fun to kind of go back and look back at this and see. But the one thing I will miss is seeing you many times in person, breaking some bread, and that to me was what this show was all about.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we both got to big time it slightly. You got to meet Mama Breaks and do a little bit of an interview, and she's on this very podcast, I believe. I got to meet Talon Sports Cards, who's kind of coming up, and I think he's probably getting up there in terms of familiarity as Mama Breaks. I got to meet some other people. I got to meet some other people who aren't yet ready to come on microphone and talk about stuff they've got cooking up. But it's coming. And even I got to meet a really, really strapping young man who works at Ultra Pro. He used to be an NFL football player. And his arms are the size of your torso. So I got to meet loads of good people. And, so hopefully there's going to be some good podcast guests coming up in the fall, as you guys call it. Once the dust from the con season starts to settle, and they'll come on the show, and then you'll hear all about them.
I am so proud of the work that you've put into this show and the contacts you have made. I'm just going to say I am kind of like, as I'm kind of watching your success, I'm just saying, you know what? It's awesome because your perspective and the people that you are bringing onto the show really help to, I think, give a much fuller aspect to this hobby and give light to things that need to give light to. And like I said, you've got some folks' ear and you're using it wisely. So I just want to say congratulations once again and keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much. The one thing I will add, actually, I'm going to do a plug, but not for me. There's a guy here I've met today for the first time who was on That Card Collectors podcast a couple of weeks ago. A guy called Nick Jarman, who's set up a trade association for the trading card industry. But it's not just for the industry, it's for collectors as well. So if you wanted to, as a collector, you could sign up and become part of the CTCA. There's no cost to it whatsoever. But I think the idea is that he's aiming to build it to a point whereby it's not a question of why would you want to be involved, is how can you afford not to be involved? And he's announced some new people, founding members this week. David Adams have come on board. Leaf Trading Cards are already on board. I think Panini are already on board. He's got some other big ones coming up, plus loads of smaller breakers. He's doing breaker education programs. He's doing seals of approval and a code of conduct for stores and breakers and influencers. And he's trying to do something interesting. So I do recommend you check that out if you can.
I enjoyed that episode, and I do like the fact that, I think something needs to get started, and this is the perfect time, and he seems to be very motivated to do so. And it's not bad that the hobby has some sort of these reality checks, because we're all in this together. Some have different, motivations, but at the end of the day, like, was it the rising tide raises all ships or something along those lines? But anyway, I just want to say before we let go and before you go back, let everybody know where they can find you online.
Sure. At that CC Pod is on Instagram, is on YouTube, is on Facebook, and that's where you can find us.
Ian, great seeing you, and be safe going home.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Hi there. This is PT McNiff from the Long Take Review podcast, and you are listening to the Rebel Base Card podcast. Great pull, kid.
All right, I'm winding down my time. I am heading towards the door as my time here at the National comes to a close. But what I would say, there were some highs, there were some lows, but I would say what a great experience and what so many people, I hope you've enjoyed hearing from some of this, because I think there's just something here for everyone, whether you're diving through dollar bins or whether you're the guy ahead of me selling $8,700 worth of sports cards, striking, and it was cash. So all I've got to say is it's quite an event, and I'm very happy that a lot of this place is carpeted. If you see any reels that say the top 5 things to do at X, if it doesn't involve carpeting, it isn't worth the time of day. But anyway, all right. I want to thank all my guests once again. I want to thank you for listening. I'm going to let Card Squadron take it out. We'll talk to you soon.
The Rebel Base Card Podcast focuses on cards, collecting, and the Star Wars community, and appreciates you coming along for the ride.
If you have any feedback for this episode, you can reach out to the program in a number of ways. You can leave a comment on the Instagram post for this episode. You can also DM Greg on Instagram at Rebel Base Card.
Make sure to also follow the Rebel Base Card on Twitter and Facebook at Rebel Base Card. If you want, you can send an email to greg@rebelbasecard.com.
And you can find show notes for this and all episodes on the website rebelbasecard.com. In the Star Wars Card Trader app, and just about every other one, you can find Greg at CornFedTech.
The Rebel Base Card uses the hashtag CardSquadron as a way to alert friends about cool cards and recent drops in the galaxy far, far away. It's a great way to bring our community a little bit closer together and help one another finish our sets in time. We collect, communicate, and commiserate. Well, at least when we run out of credits or crystals to spend on our digital collections. Join the fun, even if all the other cool squadron names were already taken. And remember, we collect as one and would be honored if you join us.
And if you are a sketch card artist, or Star Wars artist or collector, cosplayer, and want to talk about your work, your craft or passion, drop Greg a line. I'm sure he'd love to hear your story. You can also help the show by leaving a comment or review on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you got this episode.
Otherwise, the mission is clear. Keep those cards out of the hands of the Empire, and the Rebel Base Card will return soon.
This podcast is not affiliated in any way with Topps, Disney, or Star Wars, nor is it endorsed by Disney or Lucasfilm, and is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. All names and sounds and any other related items are properties of their respective trademarks and/or copyright holders here in the U.S. and abroad. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com.
That's it.